Oh, pinged in here. Partway, anyway. That's my only method out of here.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I think some. Alright. I can't get out. If I can't get out using pain. Yeah. Oh. Of course.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along.
What?
He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes.
They planned this.
Now that you're here, what do you think?
There's this
Isn't
wall.
this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Well, I have to give him point.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky.
Whoever trapped me in
I've
here.
built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Whoever thought of this, thought of. Maybe they had some. They obviously had someone trapped here before. They've obviously had someone trapped there before. You just thought, and they tried other ways of getting out of here. One probably already tried this. Probably just. Wait. Get out of here. Likely have. Oh, I am curious.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Just curious. End up paper full. Yeah. Ugh.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think?
Made me curious as to what would happen if I would.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Oh, no. Oh.
There once was a man named Stanley.
What?
Who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function.
What?
Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too will become quite unbearable.
That's my intent. That you'll let me out of here. It's still. Oh, you kidding me? Oh, I regret my decision. That what you're trying to teach me? Regret my actions, whatever I did, whatever I've done. Like how my parents are. How church is. Make me regret my actions, decisions. Oh. Whoever came up with it. I really.